To the play, personal foul, number 36, defense. Late hit, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Malik Rivera on Araujo Lopes.
Did he step out a couple steps prior? That's what I didn't see, and obviously that's what Malik Rivera would argue. There isn't a helmet-to-helmet included there, which, of course, they're looking at in replay. Had he gone upstairs up top, replay, remember, can call a targeting without it being called on the field.
Big-time play in the backfield. Henri St. Amour takes Ollison down behind the line. Senior from Suwanee, Georgia, who Pat Narduzzi shared with us yesterday. St. Amour was on the Michigan State recruiting list when Narduzzi was the defensive coordinator at East Lansing, James. And Pat said he's a quick, athletic guy at that end spot. And, you know, we looked at him when I was at Michigan State. Sure enough, he's still in that role in Nate Woody's 3-4.
Everybody wants those big defensive ends, defensive tackles. Everybody's looking for him, I'm sure.
Play fake for Pickett. And a completion near the first down into Georgia Tech territory. And this is the first catch. Araujo Lopes, another catch this time. Well, for a moment, Butler Jenkins might have had it, but instead, Rafael Araujo Lopes, 11 yards, and it is a first down.
They haven't really gotten big into the jet sweep game just yet, but they've got so many weapons on the outside. Guys like Lopes, as will isolate him here. A nice little route, puts his feet in the ground, and comes out of that break, and a good job by Kenny Pickett of hitting him. Nice timing there, two guys on the same page. Pickett just a sophomore, but Lopes been around for a while. He's a senior.
Here's Ollison again, trying to find the cutback, and the big back breaks through. Inside the 10, touchdown, Qadree Ollison in Pittsburgh. 31-yard run. He had a touchdown last Saturday night against Penn State, James, on a very similar dive-type play that they scored on here.
It was about the same time of the game. Again, a little misdirection and a good job by George Aston, the fullback, coming over and helping lead the way. And right down the heart of this Georgia Tech defense goes Ollison. He had a 28-yard touchdown catch early in the game against Georgia Tech last year.
And here is Kessman for the point after. Scarton is the holder, and the point is good. 5 plays, 63 yards, just over 100 seconds. And
Pitt leading the way as well. A good-looking play. Hat on a hat, and Ollison does the rest.
No return for Wanye Thomas on the kick of Kessman. And that'll give us a quick break here as Georgia Tech plays from its 35 to get our forward keys to the game. James?
You don't really want them, do you?
Sure.
I like to have graphics. There you go. I just like support. I feel so lonely. Here we go. Keys to the game starting for Georgia Tech. Hold serve. Hold serve. That's right now. Here's your chance to hold serve. If it's going to go back and forth, you can't give up a series. And for Pitt, can I kick it? Well, they've taken a baby step in the kicking game, in the special teams game. They made the extra point, which was an adventure last weekend. The punting has looked good as well. Maybe doing a good job on kick cover here, too. So a check mark there for Pitt so far in the keys to the game. And we're about to find out if Georgia Tech can also.
Toss for Searcy, and he will spin from Virginis, and then the ball pop loose. Pittsburgh says they have it. His crew has climbed down amongst them. And Jerry Magdalena says it stays with Georgia Tech.
As going after that football, it's definitely a fumble. Good job to go after the rock. And that's not what you want to see if you're a Yellow Jacket fan. It was a win last year for Georgia Tech, 35-17. But Paul Johnson's team put the ball on the ground 5 times. They lost 4 of those fumbles and still won.
That's Jordan Mason, the B-back, trying to fight through. He'll get a couple of yards. 3rd down coming up, Rebecca.
Well, guys, remember Taquan Marshall hurt his left big toe last week in South Florida. He says it got bent backwards. So leading up to this game, he has spent about 5 hours a day getting treatment on that toe. And for a quarterback who relies so much on his feet, he told me coming in that he's going to have to adjust his game to compensate. So look for more of those handoffs and some more pass plays.
Well, the Pitt coaches were concerned about his quickness at the edge, especially James. Base set, third down for Georgia Tech. Little counter coming back here to the near side, and Lynch will be taken down in space, and DeMar Hamlin has already got a handful of plays for the Panthers out of their secondary.
Excellent job of reading by Hamlin, and an even better job of heating it up and going and making the play before a guy like Lynch, who can be so dangerous in open field, can turn his shoulders. You make up your mind, read, now react, now get there. Not everybody can react like that. Good job by number 3, who had an interception in the 79-yard return in week 1.
Jackets are going to fake it, and they're not going to get it. Antoine Owens, the defensive lineman, got knocked down on the fake. What do you think, James?
Well, I just trying to see, didn't see it in real time, but an excellent job of everybody staying home. Nobody bailing and getting out of there. Paul Johnson had one up his sleeve, saw something that they thought they could get away with as they watched the tape of the punt cover team, or the punt return team, rather, for Pitt coming in. A lot of time on special teams they spent by these teams.
Play fake by Pickett. He'll keep it far side, and got taken out of bounds, and a flag will be thrown against Bruce Jordan Swilling.
You know, so much more time was spent looking at special teams by both of these teams.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 12, defense. Half the distance to the goal, penalty, first down.
Now, is this... Now, they're protecting the quarterback's legs in the pocket.
Yep.
He's a runner. That's out of the pocket. I just don't know what else you do, because he's not there. He's not in phase where he can just butt his chest up to him. He's got to dive. What if Pickett decides who can run? If Pickett decides to put his foot in the ground and turn it up, that's, you know, it's linebacker through my linebacker lens, but man, that's a tough one for Swilling, who's been dying to get back out there.
Darren Hall on a cutback. First down play from just outside the 10 for the Panthers. Now remember, James, that's 2 15-yarders. Now it was already tough enough field position for Georgia Tech. Add the 15 on it. Remember, Arujo Lopes banged out of bounds by Rivera. That helped extend the drive too.
Absolutely. We saw where that one ended up.
So Pittsburgh, who scored on the 31-yard run by Qadree Ollison, now has their 7th offensive possession of this young season in the red zone. Brought to you by CPI Security. 4 touchdowns in 6 previous trips for the Panthers, and here's Darren Hall bouncing in for the touchdown. Well, they stymied the fake punt. And almost 10 minutes into this first quarter, Pittsburgh's got a 2-touchdown advantage.
First one goes to one senior, Qadree Ollison. The second, the big senior out of Youngstown, Ohio. There was vision in the cut. Another good job by his offensive lineman, by fullback Aston. Well, this is power football. Huddling up, getting after it.
And the point is good on the banks of the Allegheny. And now with a 2-touchdown lead, Alex Kessman set to kick it away. And Georgia Tech has put Amari Jarrett back there in front of Wanye Thomas. Touch of the knee. Jackets will play from the 25. Rebecca Capel's got a special guest.
Yes, I do. Another Capel. I have Pitt's new head basketball coach, Jeff Capel, spelled a little differently, but equally as awesome, down here on the field. And Coach, I mean, you've been coaching for a while in a number of different places. What made you leave Duke to come here to Pitt?
Well, I believed in this place. I believe in it. I shouldn't say believe. I believed in the city. I believe in the tradition of the program. I believe in the leadership within our university. And I believe we can do some big things here.
What have the first few months on the job been like for you?
Hectic, but exciting. It's been crazy. It's been a lot of work, but it's been very exciting, and it's been cool to get to know the city.
You obviously have your work cut out for you, Pitt coming off 2 losing seasons. How do you get the guys back on track this year?
Well, you have to lay a foundation. We have to learn how to play, and most importantly, we have to learn how to win. And we have to earn the right to win every day, and it's the little things every day that will lead to the big things in the future.
You're a football fan as well.
Big football fan. I've always been. I'm a huge Steelers fan. I've never been to an NFL game. Going to my first one tomorrow, Steelers home opener. Great to be out here supporting these guys. I've gotten to know Narduzzi very well. Hopefully our defense can hold up right here and we can build, keep up with the momentum that we have going.
Coach, best of luck this season, for sure. And I know your brother is an assistant coach.
Yeah.
He played at UNC and you played at Duke, so I don't know how that's working out.
Oh, it's been great. It's been great and it'll be great.
Guys, back up to you.
All right. Thanks to Coach Capel. Yeah, we lost one of our partners in our ACC basketball coverage, James, with Jason joining his brother Jeff on the staff. And boy, Pittsburgh's done a phenomenal job here defensively early.
Yes, they have. Great job. We saw even the play before. An incomplete pass. It was too short here. Just one step ahead, this defensive front.
And now Marshall out of the pocket, and Wergenis got him around the top of the shoes. Quentin Wergenis comes in as the Panthers' leading tackler, and Georgia Tech's gone 3 and out in their first 3 possessions, James.
Rebecca talked about Taquan Marshall and his toe injury. I think a fresh Taquan Marshall, 100% healthy, can slip out of this. Boom, get out of there. I mean, that's not the Taquan Marshall that we've seen so much of and just razzle-dazzle, make all those big plays. And a good job by Wergenis. But still.
The punt will bounce. And it will be touched up by the Jackets. Paris Ford was the guy in single safety position. 44-yard punt by Presley Harvin. And Pittsburgh will start from its 29 here, James. And the offense has been very efficient. The defense has been the story early, though.
You know what I think really the true story for me has been, and we hit on it right off the top, is your goals are still out there in front of you. They're still up on that board.
Right.
Who wants it more? Who believes that they really are, and who wants a piece of it? Who wants it to be remembered? And so far, with 4 minutes left in the first quarter, without a doubt, in the trenches, the offensive line of Pitt and the defensive line, the linebackers as well, are winning that battle.
Pickett throws, and the catch made. That's Aaron Matthews, who had 16 catches a year ago. Junior from Clareton, PA, gets 11 yards there. And on 1st and 10, that is 3 passes in the first 4 possessions on the opening play. They've only run it once as Pittsburgh on the opening play of the series. Kind of breaking their tendency, I would think, James.
Yeah, absolutely. They like to get ahead of those chains, and just like Georgia Tech, just going about it differently, that's for sure.
That's French in motion. Ollison. And Jackets rally from the backside.
30, Ollison.
And it looked like Jordan Dominic, who got some run late in the ball game. Number 42 is a freshman from Jenkins High School in Lakeland, Florida. Big-time football area in the Sunshine State. He made the play.
Heck yeah, those Polk County kids, they're tough. and it showed. You know, he's coming from the backside to run him down. And remember now, all these names who we're calling out, we haven't called out David Curry yet. He cannot play in the first half because he was ejected against USF in the second half for targeting.
Here's a throw and another catch, and this is French. He'll be shy of the first down at the 49. Pack of white shirts started pushing him back. Caleb Oliver, Brant Mitchell. There's the linebacker from Knoxville. If Georgia Tech has a leader on defense, James, 51 might be your guy.
51 because he's been there. 51, he's the veteran right there in the middle linebacker. But I would go so far, David Curry, give him another week or two, and he keeps making plays like he has been. You lead by example, too, but those linebackers definitely need to lead right here. This is a huge play, I think, for Georgia Tech. They've got to get off the field here on 3rd down and short.
Pittsburgh 1 of 2 on 3rd down. Madura, the third tight end in motion. Here's Pickett on a bootleg. And he will throw down the field and dropped. Aaron Matthews, the intended receiver. Lamont Simmons was there in coverage for Georgia Tech. And we'll get our first punt of the day from Kirk Christodoulou.
Well, Lamont Simmons is lucky because he was a few steps behind and ball a little bit high, but it's in the hands, and that's definitely a catchable ball, and it's got to be hung on to. Too many good playmakers at the wide receiver spot. When you get your chance, you got to make it count. Aaron Matthews. Bring it in.
Second punt of the day for Christodoulou. Here's Stewart on the run at the 20. Trying to make a man miss and squeezed out to about the 24-yard line. And that's where Georgia Tech will start. And the Panther defense has been solid so far today, James.
Absolutely. It's a slowed up to Quan Marshall, but it shouldn't mean that Pitt's dominating like they are right now. It has nothing to do with the guys with the gold bonnets on just being hungrier. It's just from all 11 that have been on the field are playing like they're upset. They're playing like they're angry as can be. The last time out that they played in front of these Pitt fans, it was an embarrassing outing in the loss to Penn State, 51-6. And they've certainly played like an angry bunch of Panthers here so far today.
Marshall straight ahead, and this is Jerry Howard, the B-back, number 15 into the ball game for the first time, sophomore from Rock Hill, South Carolina. He had multiple carries in a half-dozen games a year ago, and that was behind the efforts of Kervonte Benson, who finished with over 1,000 yards, as did Taquan Marshall at quarterback.
You know, you mentioned Kervonte Benson. I'll bet you Pitt, the defense is glad that he's not playing today. He ran through there. They still haven't stopped him from last year at 35-17.
Here's Marshall. Option, and this is Howard around the edge, and Georgia Tech has their first down of the day with the big sophomore Jerry Howard.
You know what's impressed me the most with the guys on the edges, the outside, the backs, the wing backs, and the receivers for Georgia Tech is how they've adapted, and they don't have to cut every play. The new rule in college football, it changes things, especially for Paul Johnson's team. It shows their toughness and their athleticism that they've done a good job. Guys like Clinton Lynch stand out, Cottrell as well, Quay Searcy. They get out there and they can still block up top and still do their job.
Jerry Howard fights for a yard or two toward the 45 on first down. And Rashad Weaver, who had a play behind the line the other night against Penn State, with Sean Idowu in linebacker. Idowu had 13 tackles last year, up his 94 in the campaign in the contest with Georgia Tech in Atlanta.
Yeah, I was sitting down yesterday. He admitted it was a little bit of a shocker. You know, he had a fumble recovery in that game, too. He said, I thought I'd go and have about 4 or 5 because I'm not right in the middle. The guy in the middle gets all the tackles against Georgia Tech, but he's already got a couple here today.
Yep. 15 minutes in the books. All Pittsburgh so far at Heinz Field. Ollison and Hall with touchdown runs in this ACC opener in the Coastal Division for both schools. Second quarter next.
To keep it clean, they had the one ball that went down on the ground, so no turnovers. They've got to keep that ball off the ground, and just 30 total yards to the 109 for Pitt. 0 for 3 on third downs.
Second period starts with second down. Marshall faked the pitch, in trouble, and then got combined on the tackle. Boy, the Panthers did a really good job there. Shane Roy, the nose tackle, 93. And then also it looked like Elijah Zeiss, James.
It takes discipline to run this offense, and it takes even more discipline to stop it. And you can't freelance. You can't just, hey, they're hurting us here, they're hurting us here. I'm gonna go run past this ball because I got to go help my buddies out on the other side. So many times against USF, how many times those big plays last week, it was a cutback. It hasn't happened against Pitt today because they played disciplined football. Here's a 3rd down and 8 now. We'll try to do it one more time and make them 0 for 4 on 3rd down conversion.
Timeout called for by Georgia Tech on 3rd down here. Play clock was getting ready to get to Quan Marshall.
30-second timeout.
So Paul Johnson wants to talk to his coach. Marshall had moved the man in motion as he was getting ready to snap it. Rebecca.
Well, guys, we've been talking about the Pitt defense, what a great job they've done so far. The team has taken time since camp to work on defending the triple option almost every day. Pat Narduzzi tells us they call it Panther period. It's during practice, and that way it's not a total shock when this game comes up on the schedule. Nobody on this Panther team should be surprised or confused about what's going on, and it appears they're doing a good job.
Early on, I'd say so, wouldn't you, James?
Absolutely, and you've got to, I mean, it's almost not fair. It's tough enough to go coach week in, week out in college football, and then you got to take time, and that's why it can be such an equalizer. You know, not just when you've got the athletes at Georgia Tech, but even for schools, some of the academies where they have no choice but to try to do it that way.
Slot set for the Jackets out of the timeout. Marshall going to keep it and run into Adowu, and then also a little help from Rashad Weaver, I believe, and Weaver got there, and then Jazzy Stocker out of the secondary.
Well, they go empty. There's nobody back there. They send out the backs and clear them out. It's, you know, you get some yardage, but I'm not sure you're going to get 10 yards. But it's, so thinking it might have been Taquan calling his number there, and that's exactly as he's pleading his case, what it looks like.
5 plays and a punt, and a fair catch called for and made by the Panthers. That was Paris Ford on the back end of a 37-yarder from Presley Harvin.
Game, you had Clemson moving up earlier. Now that was surprising they even got that one off, but that was a good roll of the dice, if you will. You never know what the Hurricanes are going to do.
Here is Maurice French on a little sweep play. Fumbled the ball. And let's see, did Pittsburgh get back on it? They did. Fortuitous bounce for the guys in the navy blue jerseys, and Nate Woody upset his group didn't fall on it, I'm sure.
Well, I'll say that is just what Georgia Tech needed to pop right back into this football game, give their offense a short field, and it's a good job to. We'll go ahead and maybe give him a little bit of credit reaching back, Caleb Oliver, putting a hand on that ball, but I think more than anything, it was just a last-ditch effort to get a piece after he kind of fell to the little shake from French.
Well, we saw Oliver in the lid lifter for the Jackets against Alcorn. We were impressed with that youngster. Second down, Ollison trying to get ahead of steam, and the door got shut. Bruce Jordan Swilling back in the lineup today. He missed the first 2 ball games with injury, James.
Yeah, he had the hamstring injury, and then even after he missed some from camp with the hamstring, he got in a scooter accident right before the season started, and he wasn't 100% available when David Curry went out for the targeting call against USF last weekend.
Yep.
So just trying to get him back into a groove. He's too good of a player to be sitting over on the bench.
See Paul Johnson going at it with his offensive line, getting those guys set up. Georgia Tech coming off their best possession, but still nothing to really generate offensively. And there's a throw to convert the 3rd and long. And the catch made by Taysir Mack, the transfer from Indiana, who's been a nice find for Pat Narduzzi's team.
They only bring 3 guys. Just 3 guys there on the rush. All the time that Pickett needs. But if you only bring 3, then you've got 8 to cover. And you got to know where those sticks are. You got to know where those routes are being run and where that quarterback's looking. That's too easy of a pickup for Pitt. You've got them deep. You've got a chance to get off the field in a 3rd down and long, and you give them life. That can't happen if you want to win this football game.
Play fake to Ollison. Pickett going to load it up. Looking for Mack again, and overthrown into the Georgia Tech bench area. It'll be 2nd down.
Intended for Mack.
So Kenny Pickett now starting to find his way in the 2nd quarter of play with a 14-0 lead in his pocket.
Taysir Mack is, even though he played in 12 games, he started 8 at Indiana last year. He's still young. He's a sophomore. Yep. But you know, a veteran guy will give himself some padding on that route. Don't run that route. Don't start right on the edge line, on the sideline. Give yourself and your quarterback some room, some cushion.
Here comes Arugio Lopes to the near side, and he will fight to the 30-yard line and got pushed out of bounds. That was Oliver. No flag on the play as Caleb Oliver, the redshirt freshman from Oakland High School in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, made the stop.
Ruggiero Lopes. We sat down with him yesterday, too. Look at him. Little big man continuing to fight. No flag thrown there. And here's one more opportunity at a 3rd down and long. They brought 3 last time. They bring the house.
Pickett throws, and the catch made by Mack, but he'll be short of the first down at the 34.
And about 5 or 6 bodies coming after Pickett there. Forced him to speed it up a little bit, cutting that route short. And they do get off the field. And they've got to be careful now. Georgia Tech on defense, be alert. Middle of the field here in this area.
Kirk Christodoulou will punt it to Brad Stewart. Christodoulou, 21-year-old Aussie from Melbourne, who enrolled here last January out of that Pro Kick Australia Academy program down under. Almost blocked there. Stewart, fair catch made near the 29.
Christodoulou's got to sell it a little bit. He might have gotten some help.
Listings on your regional sports network.
Broncos shredding the gnar.
Here's Marshall. Option to the wide side of the field. He'll get 6 on first down. It'll be 2nd and 4. And James, readily evident, Taquan Marshall's not 100% today for Georgia Tech.
Here's a look at Oliver.
Let's check with Rebecca about Taquan.
Guys, Taquan rarely stops talking to his teammates on the sideline. Earlier, he was coaching up running back Jordan Mason, his young running back, and then he was pleading with his guys and his offensive line on the last one out, saying, just relax. This could come down to one play. We just got to fix some things.
Jordan Mason, the B-back, fights for a couple. Right guard center run there. Keyshawn Camp, the big defensive tackle to play. It was interesting talking with Pat Narduzzi yesterday and Randy Bates, his new defensive coordinator, who said this is really a first down game because Georgia Tech doesn't like 2nd and 7.
Right.
He even went to the point of saying 2nd and 6 was a lot different than 2nd and 7. And now it's 3rd and 1.
Win that first down, exactly.
Jackets are hitless in 4 third downs. And a flag is thrown. Marshall will have the first down toward the 44. Now, let's see if this is movement on Georgia Tech or offside on Pittsburgh. Neutral zone infraction, I think. Jerry Magallanes.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
There you have it.
And what it is it's the motion man that you're not seeing. And it looks almost like lined up there. Lined up offside.
Yeah. Deslin Alexandra.
When you give him a freebie, you got to check that. But it looks like that motion man, the wing man, in that case it was Searcy, that maybe there's your movement, but that's just a motion man. It's just that. I was wondering maybe there's another guy going.
That's that right there, typifying the Jacket struggle, just 2.5 yards on a play, and now Searcy tries to change that out as DeMar Hamlin banged him out of bounds after a 16-yard run. Longest run of the day for Georgia Tech offensively. Quay Searcy, redshirt junior, Lamar County High School down at Barnesville, Georgia. Produced the Austin twins, who played at Georgia Tech and had some heroic plays for Paul Johnson.
Are we ever going to do a game where you're going to say a high school that produced the Ollison twins?
I don't think so.
You think they went to high school? Or the Hansons?
1st and 10. And boy, that play never materialized because of the great penetration that Keyshawn Camp got, along with Alexandra again.
There's your win on first down. Play coming in now to play Searcy. You mentioned it earlier. Defensive coordinator Randy Bates for Pitt, winning first down. He didn't do it earlier. It was good field position to start this drive for Georgia Tech finally. They had their way early on, but now back with a 2nd down and 9.
Marshall straight ahead. This is Mason flipped over, but he'll have a first down for Georgia Tech at Pittsburgh's 28-yard line. So Jordan Mason, one of his better runs, James.
Well, and it was these runs to the B-back right up the middle that hurt him so much last year. I mentioned Pravante Benson having such a big day. 196 yards. Most yards by a B-back for Paul Johnson since he's been at Georgia Tech. And he just ran right over him. There didn't take anybody to run over. It was such a good job by his offensive line of clearing the way.
That's Andrew Marshall heading to the sideline for Georgia Tech, making his Remember, he missed all of last year. Today's his 36th career game. He missed all of last year with foot and leg injuries. So Georgia Tech has to make some changes. So Bailey Ivermeyer, redshirt junior, has come in to play the right tackle spot.
Will Bryan didn't make the trip.
Yep.
A late scratch.
So here is Mason again on first down. And now Jordan Mason picking up 5, almost 6 on the first carry.
They've been without Wes Kenny Cooper.
Yep.
Throughout the season. I don't think he hasn't been in today. I haven't seen him yet.
He is on the trip, James, but has not played. You're right. He's trying to make his season debut today at center.
Looks like it's gonna be a right ankle the way he landed when he came down. But you know, Will Bryan, Jahazel Lee even was banged up against USF last weekend. So that's been pretty upset.
8 play, Marshall on the pitch. Ball hit the ground, and it looked like Clinton Lynch was able to fall on it. Believe it or not, maybe just a yard back of the line of scrimmage.
Another ball on the ground, dodging another bullet. So 2 on the ground, but able to recover both of them this offense. But as you talk about winning first down, then it carries on. You win first down, and then you got a second short. You just chip away. And even though you don't lose the ball here, you're driving. You've got the momentum of defense on their heels, and you're going backwards. Let's see if the Panthers take advantage of it now.
Malachi Carter, the wide receiver, to the top of the screen. Here's Marshall. He can't get anywhere on the follow play. And that got blown up, I believe. Patrick Jones II, a redshirt sophomore from Chesapeake, Virginia. Got in there to spin Taquan Marshall around. That's a fine third down play by the Panthers.
Offense stays out there, so it bring up a 4th down and 5 now. Goes without saying, unable to do anything here in the first half. Pat Narduzzi trying to get him to make some noise here at Heinz Field.
Marshall 3 steps and offline to Jalen Camp. Georgia Tech runs 10 plays.
Doesn't get any easier than that, and that's a play after the pitch went to the ground.
6th possession for the Panthers. Little flea flicker. Pickett lining up, going to shoot it deep. Taysir Mack is there. Mack down the far sideline, banged out around the 15. 60-yard throw from Kenny Pickett to Taysir Mack.
I love it. Love the play call. It's sudden change. It's not by a big turnover, but it's by a turnover on downs. It's a defense that comes out on their heels, maybe not expecting it, maybe hanging their heads a little bit, feeling sorry for themselves, trying to get to the halftime locker room. You get them sleeping. And a big-time play for Pitt, trying to make it 21-0 here with 4:30 left in the first half.
Hall will stay in the game at the running back spot. Gets the carry. And to the 10 goes Darren Hall. You could tell in visiting with the Pitt coaches and players yesterday, they just needed something good to happen early today, James.
Watching the Penn State game, the final was 51-6 over your Keystone State rival. I was dreading going and watching that game because I didn't see it live.
Yeah.
And they fought. They fought through.
Yeah.
It certainly didn't feel like a 51-6 fight. It was just really sloppy play. And they're playing cleaner and continuing to fight here today, that's for sure.
Hall looking for the cutback, and 3 Jackets are going to hit him at the 8. Caleb Oliver, Brant Mitchell in on that tackle. Looks like Antoine Owens also fighting through there. Desmond Branch.
There's one more look at the trickery. All back to Pickett's, and you know it's a good job defensively. The safeties, we're in position, but it's just so much time. It's so hard to hang with somebody to give them a chance to run all the way across the field, especially with a runner like Matt. And Pickett does a great job of just laying it out there. So many times when it's just too easy, That's when they seem to mess up a little bit, but that was a nice throw and catch.
Tell you what, Pat Narduzzi showed some good speed and agility. Racing down in front of the Panthers. Second rushing score from Ollison.
Never thought I'd see the day when a fullback and a tailback lined up behind him, quarterback under center looked a little bit different. Good job, not only by the offensive line, but that lead back, just straight lead. That's all it is.
4 plays, 77 yards in 2:08. And Kessman's point after is good. And the Panthers leading 21-0 in James. They set that one up by a pass, but most of this has been just good running game today.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at the big bangers up front, winning that initial battle with that front 7 of Georgia Tech, and then Ollison doing the rest on the first one. Then it's the other senior, Darren Hall. There's the flea flicker after the turnover on downs. And a nice strong arm by Pickett. The young man does a good job of throwing it in awkward positions and on the fly. There he gets it down there, and there's Ollison, and there's a look at the first 6 times here today that Pitts had the ball. That's got to feel a little bit better when that last whistle blew just a week ago against Penn State.
Sean Watson, the offensive coordinator of the Panthers. Kenny Pickett. You know, it's hard to believe Kenny Pickett today's only his 4th start, James. We saw him make his college debut at the Carrier Dome last year after an injury to Max Brown. As Wanye Thomas watches it sail over his head, Georgia Tech will start from its 25. Quick moment, don't forget this is game 1 of a doubleheader. Nighttime is the right time for Evan Lepler and Takeo Spikes and Lindsey Rowley at Cardinal Stadium tonight. Bobby Petrino with Puma Pass against Mike Sanford's Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. First meeting in 20 years between the 2 Bluegrass schools.
The nighttime is the right time. The nighttime is the right time. Put some teeth into it.
Tell you what, Evan Lepler better get it loaded up to work with Takeo tonight. Big Spikes will be bringing the noise at Cardinal Stadium. 7:30 on the Regional Sports Network for the Cards and Toppers. Here's Marshall trying to freeze option. Finally got a pitch. That's Jerry Howard around the left side and loose. Big sophomore into Pittsburgh territory. Great run for Howard. And Felipe Motley finally shoved him out of bounds.
How about the double clutch, though, on the pitch? I just was wondering if he was even going to get it off. Once Howard finally gets it, everybody's doing their job on the outside. Watch this pitch. It's been an adventure all day long. Thought maybe about keeping it, second guessing because he's had so many poor decisions. It seems like Paul Johnson getting on him. Good job on the perimeter out there. The guys on the outside blocking.
Marshall wants to throw it. Here is Stewart on the post. Off his hands, incomplete. He had gotten inside of leverage against Motley, it looked like. Dane Jackson was also coming over from the other side to help.
Certainly did in a nicely thrown football there by Marshall, making it look like it's something that they do quite often around there. Out there for Stewart to lay out. That ball's got to be caught. That's a touchdown, or at least you're knocking on the door. First down and goal from the 1.
That's Lynch in motion. Here's Marshall again. He will keep it, not get very much, maybe a yard to the 32, James. 3rd down now, and the clock inside 2.5 to go.
Here's an ISO look on Motley, the backside corner. Look at the angle that he takes to come all the way across the field and save the day. I mean, now you've got a 3rd down and long. If it's not for Motley taking a proper angle in the hustle, then those pursuit drills that Pat Narduzzi's run so much over his career as a defensive coach, paying off right there. Let's see if they can get off the field, or at least stop it.
Georgia Tech 1 of 4 on 3rd down, and Marshall will be sacked. Wargenis, the Mike linebacker, came blasting through.
It's something that you pick your poison. You hang your hat on, getting off the spot, staying low. Those offensive linemen, then they're asked to get up and pass block. and the blitz is coming. Virginia's taking advantage of it. And so what looked to be a really good opportunity to put some points on the board, down 21-0, start going the wrong way. And a guy who's never scared to go for it on fourth down in Paul Johnson, but this is a scary fourth down at 17, probably a little bit too scary, and going to need to punt it away.
Timeout. I think Pittsburgh is taking the timeout. Is that right, to stop the clock? Georgia Tech used one earlier. We've had a stoppage of play here with the ball at the 40 for 4th and 17. I want to make sure we've got the timeouts coordinated right. It was Pittsburgh, I think, that took the timeout.
But now, look where you sit right now, and going back to that Motley play. You know, I mean, how many times you see guys, it's hot, getting ready to go in at halftime. Let me just take this play. Somebody else is going to make the play.
Right.
You've got to be the one. Everybody's got to be hustling every single play, even if you think there's absolutely no way you're going to be in on it. And it pays off. A great job there by the backside corner for Pitt. You live to play another down, and things certainly went the way of Pitt after that stop.
Rafael Araujo-Lopes will stand with the heels locked in at the 10-yard line. Presley Harvin
82 Araujo-Lopes
will just kind of flip it down there, and it's going to kick into the end zone. So Pittsburgh going to scrimmage from its 20 with 1:17 to go, and just one timeout left for Pat Narduzzi, 52-year-old native of Youngstown, Ohio. And we're fortunate, James, we get to spend time with these coaches in one form or another in game week. Fun guy to talk ball with. Talk lots of ball with.
Oh, yeah. And he loves to give Rebecca Capel a hard time about being a Michigan Wolverine fan, doesn't he?
Rebecca, once again, Coach Narduzzi was chasing your allegiance to Ann Arbor yesterday.
I expect it every time I talk to him. I know what's going to happen. He's going to remind me how bad Michigan is and how they're not going to win any more games. It's fine.
She does it to herself, though.
Well, you do.
Hi, Coach. I'm Rebecca.
Yeah.
I love Michigan.
Right.
That's French in motion. And Ollison to carry. Oh, boy, nice tackle. Hanging on now was Henri Saint-Amour. Maybe a step toward the 21, and the clock moving toward a minute to go.
All right, now Georgia Tech, if they get a stop here, I'd use one of those timeouts. It's been an adventure for Pitt, special teams, punting the football especially. I'd make them punt, but they got to get a stop first things first.
Araujo-Lopes, and out of bounds. Caleb Oliver takes him down. And it will be 3rd down, and Kenny Pickett went down. And so Kenny Pickett. James, we're going to look here.
Oh.
It looks like one of the Jackets is trying to get there through the offensive lineman of the Panthers. And that is Ricky Town right there, the junior college transfer from Newbury Park, California, who has had a circuitous route to Pittsburgh. He originally committed to Southern California out of high school, then ended up at Arkansas for about a year and a half, never played for the Razorbacks. Remember now, they went through a coaching change, Brett Bielema to Chad Morris, but he spent last year at Ventura Community College, did Ricky Town. And now here he is at 22 years of age and a classified junior in the program, and meanwhile they check out Kenny Pickett.
You hate to see this.
Yep.
Hate to see this. And it's, look, there's 47 seconds on the clock before halftime, and in essence, unless something big here happens, you're running out that clock to go in up 21-0. And and even the shot to the lower part of his leg, you mentioned it, an offensive lineman was hanging on the defender.
Yep.
And hopefully it is just like more of a bone type of thing, a shot to the shin more than a knee type of thing. At least he's getting off under his own power. We're going to need him the rest of the way.
Pickett's shaken up here. We'll see what, I'm sure there'll be some halftime evaluation by the Pittsburgh Medical Group. And we'll pass that along too, but I suspect we will not get any kind of resolution until after half.
Tobias Oliver came in and filled in nicely last week for Georgia Tech in a similar situation.
Town hands the ball to Ollison, and Paul Johnson will take the timeout. 41 seconds left. Jackets rallied to make the stop there. St. Amour, 94 there for Georgia Tech. Well, this marks the 100th anniversary of the first meeting, November 23rd, 1918. And here are the head coaches in that game, James. These guys, I think, had adequate careers. John Heisman coached Georgia Tech that year. The Golden Tornado, as they were known, James, went 6-1 and won the SIAA championship. Pop Warner, that'd be Clint Pop Warner. You all probably played in his leagues. Yeah. Nationwide. Pittsburgh went 4-1. Now, remember, in today's college football, they went 4-1 and won the national, one of 9 national championships at the University of Pittsburgh.
Wow. 100 years.
November 23rd, 1918. Pitt won 32-0.
It was actually a war charities game. It was World War I. And almost everybody in the country, their seasons were shortened, especially on the East Coast.
Yeah. How about that, huh?
They played it to benefit the war. That is one of my favorite full screens that we built. That's really special. That's cool.
Wobbly kick towards Stewart from Christodoulou, and a fair catch ball forward to 25. So 32 seconds to go first half. 46-yard punt from Kirk Christodoulou. And here is Taquan Marshall. By the way, Georgia Tech defensively, first 3 and out of the day for the Jackets on that side of the rock. And from the 26, Taquan Marshall. And Georgia Tech with 1 timeout remaining.
Well, Pitt defensively, you can't take a snap or 2 off before halftime. We saw Jerry Howard almost take one to the house on the last series here for this offense. You got to finish up this half right here, go to the locker room. Up 21-0. What a first half it's been so far on Randy Bates' side of the ball.
Marshall going to run with it, and Taquan will be close to the first down and have it.
16, Marshall.
Clock will stop. 26 seconds. They'll move the chains.
First down, to the 37.
And an injured Panthers shaken up. Sean Idowu, their outstanding linebacker from Wexford, PA, born in Nigeria, moved to the United States at the age of 8, is the man down.
These head coaches across the college football landscape are learning more and more, unfortunately, every week that you better have some depth.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting. I thought our visit with Nate Woody this week was interesting, talking about putting a new defensive system in at Georgia Tech, going to the 3-4. And yesterday, some of that conversation with Pat Narduzzi and his staff relating to depth. And in the case of Nate Woody, he's putting a new system in, and he's got guys that he's trying to plug in there.
You know, and not just injuries, but with targeting calls.
Oh, yeah. Georgia Tech had 2 last week. Tariq Carpenter and David Curry, who we'll see in the second half.
Right. You know, and Paul Johnson hit on it, too, the targeting and the injuries as well. He said, you can't overreact. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And that's good to see.
Yep. Well, we had a great visit with this young man yesterday.
Gosh, he's fun. I'll miss hanging out with him. It's been a treat the last couple years.
Well, Tom Wormy and Dave Archer have that Pitt-Carolina game next week. If you just want to slide by over there and maybe visit on the way to Charlottesville.
You'd miss me too much. I couldn't do that.
You're
to
right.
You.
We'd get to hang out with Sean, though, again, wouldn't we?
That'd be selfish of me.
Marshall will keep it. Stepped out of 1 tackle and near another first down. And they will stop the clock. Is that to move the stick? Or is that Georgia Tech's final timeout? Jerry Magallanes and his group huddling. And I think a timeout was taken by Georgia Tech, and it was with 14 seconds left. Been all Pittsburgh for the most part. 3 rushing scores, 2 from Qadree Ollison, 1 from Darren Hall. And James, they put touchdowns on the board in possessions 2 and 3, while Georgia Tech was kind of stumbling around offensively, to be honest. And also failed to convert a fake punt deep in their own territory.
Oh, and that was a killer. And you know, just like the flea flicker,
yep.
It energizes a stadium. It energizes the sidelines so much. That's what you're hoping to inject into your team by calling that fake punt. And obviously, you see something throughout the week. This is going to work. This is going to work. You check the first handful of games from this year and going back to last year. They just don't account for this. Well, the one time that they finally do and everybody stays home, you roll the dice and you come up empty. But sometimes it takes being the riverboat gambler type of guy. When the other team least expects it. It came back to bite them.
Second down.
Georgia Tech.
No charge timeout on the play. So Georgia Tech still has the one timeout with 11 seconds. Marshall wants to throw. Going to cut it loose, and here's Jalen Camp, and he will stretch to the 35. And Paul Johnson the timeout with 5 seconds left.
Juan's telling Camp should have gotten out of bounds there. It doesn't seem like it would have mattered, though. You're going to have a chance for one more play here before halftime.
Well, we told you, conference opener for both these clubs, and they're important because here's the preseason poll. Georgia Tech preseason picked 3rd, Pittsburgh 5th, but really, James, behind Miami and Virginia Tech, you could see from 3rd to about 5th, it looked like a coin toss. I mean, you build cases for Duke's start, although they now play without Daniel Jones for several weeks. Mark Gilbert is out for the rest of the year. Their outstanding corner. They're at Baylor, by the way, later today. And you know that North Carolina is on the shelf this week after having their game canceled from Hurricane Florence, as is Virginia Tech. Those were all non-conference games, by the way, that got postponed. And here is Brenton King to try a 52-yard field goal. And we get a timeout taken by Pittsburgh. Brad Stewart is the holder on this 52-yard try. Pat Narduzzi, who's got his special teams coordinator Andre Powell near him. There's Coach Powell to the left with Arugio Lopes. Rebecca's new friend, Rafael Arugio Lopes, James.
And why? Why are they now friends?
Well, you guys, I think maybe he's wearing his new lucky hair tie today that I let him borrow from me yesterday during our chat.
Oh.
He was looking for a rubber band. I know the feeling. I always have a few on my wrist as backups.
By the way, recorded. Yeah, there it is. Huh? How about that? You bailed him out, Rebecca.
You are welcome, rah-rah.
52-yard try now for Brenton King out of Mill Creek High School in Atlanta. Kick is away, and it'll be short and off. And that's the final play of the first half. Jackets will have the ball to start half 2. But let's go downstairs. Honda dealers of the Carolinas coach interview session. But the Jackets will have it first. Kessman will kick it away, and Wanye Thomas will touch a knee, and the Jackets will scrimmage from their 25-yard line, trailing 21-0. Things will not get easier for Paul Johnson's team, regardless of the outcome today, because number 2 Clemson visits Grant Field at Bobby Dodd Stadium next Saturday. And then Pittsburgh goes on the road in the Coastal, James, to Carolina. Tar Heels 0-2 and now had the cancellation with UCF. So Larry Fedora's team, who had 5 games in 26 days to start the season, gets to take their breath. But here comes Pitt feeling good, too.
Well, and like Pitt coming off of that Penn State loss last weekend, you better believe Larry Fedora, with that extra time, he's going to have an angry bunch of Tar Heels, too.
Here's Marshall, option play. He will keep it. Has 10, has 15. Does Taquan Marshall on the first play. And James, quite frankly, that's the best he's looked carrying the ball today, I think.
Oh, it really is. I mean, decisive, makes up his mind and goes. Even on the big Howard run earlier, double clutching, you know, you hate to see things start to snowball. You have a couple mishaps. Coach is on you a little bit, not making the right reads, not valuing the football, as Paul Johnson puts it. You start to question yourself. Get a couple good plays for him and let that snowball on a positive side for Georgia Tech.
First down and 10. And procedure on Georgia Tech.
See, that's it. Right there.
False start. Offense. Number 62. 5-yard penalty. First down.
It is of note, Bailey Avermeyer has moved over there after Andrew Marshall left the game. And Kenny Cooper has come in the ball game now for Georgia Tech in that offensive line at the right guard spot. There's 55, 300-pound junior from Calhoun in his 17th career game coming off a foot injury in the spring.
It's good to have him back out there. He was banged up early last year, but able to fight through it.
Marshall thought about it, and Pitt swallowed it up with Rashad Weaver. Nathan Qadree was the pitch guy, but boy, Weaver was in the backfield right away.
Well, and going backwards there before the play, thanks to the penalty flag, and this time, thanks to Weaver and that Pitt defense. Knifing through the penetration will kill this option attack. And first play out the gate, first down. Then you stumble. You got them on their heels. You got to keep them on their heels, especially in this type of system.
Here's Marshall, quick throw, offline for Camp, who slipped down ahead of the coverage of Dane Jackson, the corner.
And it was Camp that the miscue package that we showed you guys earlier there at halftime. With the ball thrown over his head here. This time it's on Camp because the ball seemed to be on the money. But he slips coming out of his break. Rebecca did the hit earlier. Even though it's rained a ton, it's a brand new field and it's nice and dry. No excuse. So let's see if they can up that 1 of 7 third down conversion. They've got to go all the way to midfield, though, for a fresh set of downs.
Stewart and Camp are the wide receivers. Marshall in trouble. Dodging more trouble, and finally goes down, and then it's fumbled, and it's scooped up, and this is Rashad Weaver with the fumble recovery. Flag has gone down. Helmet has come off. That was the helmet of Taquan Marshall.
And Marshall in the jackets might get bailed out here. It's a flag that comes down. It could be a face mask of some sort, and it's about the only way it looks like that they were going to get out of that third down and forever. Here's a look at the end of it again. Nowhere to go for Marshall. And that's what they're going to call it right there. It's going to be a first down. 15 yards on Pitt.
First penalty of the day against Pittsburgh.
Pat Narduzzi's arguing that he had the top of his helmet, but it's the same result.
The ruling on the field before the change of possession was recovered by Pitt. Personal foul, face mask, defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
The first penalty of the day against Pittsburgh bails out a Georgia Tech turnover, a miss on third down, James. I mean, it's a full-service penalty in terms of momentum. Now, can Georgia Tech do anything with it, right?
Right. But they cannot go backwards. Whether by penalty or by a miscue, a mishandled snap, or a pitch, they have got to keep their foot down on the pedal here.
Now they're going to review this. The play on the field is under further review.
So what I don't think that they could review if it's a face mask or not. What they're probably reviewing is, was the ball picked up by the defense and then the penalty came around. They can review, of course, targeting if they want to add a targeting.
Yeah, because Georgia Tech found that out last week when Bell, the running back at South Florida, was hurt on a play.
Yeah.
They went to a television timeout.
Yep.
By the time they'd come back, they'd ejected David Curry for a targeting call.
And there was no flag.
Right, no flag on the field.
Nate Woody couldn't figure out what was going on because there was no flag.
Right. Thought the American crew, by the way, did a pretty poor job of explaining that whole dynamic, by the way, last Saturday. Even if you were watching the game on television, it was hard to sort out. And here now, Jerry Magallanes is having a look at this. And the replay official upstairs is Jack Kramer. So he and Magallanes on the horn. And, of course, they've got the communications center in Greensboro. And so it looked like, I think they're trying to find out if Parker Braun was involved in a targeting here. At least that's the word we're getting. 75 for Georgia Tech.
So there's Braun coming in late now. He goes to the side.
Yeah.
It's he leads with his helmet, but it is close. But I don't think you can put a targeting on that and eject a player.
After review, the ruling on the field stands as called. It's first down, Georgia Tech. Number 16 does not have to leave the game. The personal foul caused his helmet to be off during the play.
All right. Thank you, sir. Ball at the 48 of Georgia Tech.
16 does not have to leave the game. The dreadlocks that he chooses to wear cause his helmet to fit a little looser. And he looks really good with them, so we're going to let him stay. I mean, seriously, when you start seeing a lot more dreadlocks, you start seeing a lot more helmets come off.
It takes away a sack, a turnover, James.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. And I mean, that first play, they had something going. Can they keep it going now after, here's a 4-yard gain. That's fine. That's what you want on first down. That's a win on first down for Georgia Tech. Now back it up. Put it together. Be consistent. Not just Taquan Marshall, as a team, as a unit. Be consistent.
Second down and 6, just over midfield. Jordan Mason, he and Jerry Howard have rotated at the B-back spot today. Remember, Gervonta Benson, their starter last year and in the first 2 ball games this year, lost last week with an ACL injury at South Florida. There's Marshall squeezing away from Weaver again. Marshall took a big lick. Taquan got bent around there as he was trying to circle the edge.
Nice job by Weaver. We saw it earlier here a few plays ago, early in the second half. He's going to knife through there. He's going to take a chance to come back underneath, but it's such good pursuit by the rest of his guys there on defense, it doesn't really matter. Misses the tackle, won't get credited, but he had a lot to do with that stop.
3rd and 5, Georgia Tech 1 for 7 on 3rd down. Mason, first down to the 40. Jordan Mason, who runs with that little forward lean, James. 6'1", 212-pound redshirt freshman, Gallatin, Tennessee, the first down.
Well, he doesn't have the experience that Gervonta Benson does, but he is a good-looking runner, and that lean, that body type, the squatty body, the strong runner that can put some lean into it, run with those pads down, is a perfect fit for the B-back in this offense. And that dive play that gave Pitt fits last year works to move the chains.
That's Searcy in motion. Marshall pitches, and this is Mason around the edge. Jordan Mason inside the 20, 15, and inside the 10. First and goal, Georgia Tech at the 7 before Wergenis, the linebacker, saved the touchdown on a 33-yard run.
Well, Tech fans, that has to look and feel a whole lot better. Everybody firing off the ball, winning the battle up front. Your quarterback doesn't question the pitch, puts it out there. He puts it out there nicely for Mason, and he gets some help on the perimeter. You're used to seeing those bodies on the ground. Good job blocking on the edges by the receivers. Good job blocking down the field by Camp. Inside the 10 and knocking at the door, trying to get their first touchdown, have got to continue to move forward.
Jerry Howard's come in. Here's Marshall on the follow play. It'll be second and goal just outside the 1. So Georgia Tech, who came into the ball game 6 touchdowns and 11 red zone possessions, is in the CPI security red zone here on the opening possession of the second half. And we played 5 minutes at quarter 3 here at Heinz Field. Howard stays in as the B-back. That's Searcy in motion. Marshall on the follow again. Boy, he got wrapped up right at the goal line. It'll be 3rd down for Georgia Tech. Elias Reynolds banged in there from the linebacking spot, 44, but he had some help, James.
Well, they do a good job of making sure that dive doesn't hurt them, taking away that dive, and then it's just the next man up. Sean Idowu was back out there. He left the field earlier. That's good to see, too, for Pitt. Trying to get a big goal line stand here. Georgia Tech looking for some points. There to see the communication. All those new bodies, all those new faces trying to be on the same page.
Marshall diving, and he hit the end zone, but did he get enough of it to get in? 4th down. Marshall seems like he got in, James. Let's have a look here. Oh, they may look at this now.
Yeah, and see, if you look right there, that's just the back end of it. Wasn't sure if the knee was down or not then. I don't know that the knee, you piece those two together, you piece
ball popped loose.
But the ball still was across the plane. So if you piece these two replays together, this one, go ahead and play it. Okay, the ball, a little bit more, guys. Okay, the ball now is across the plane. All right, so now he's going to get hit and fumble. The question is, right now, is the knee down? We don't know right there, but in that other angle, we see that it is not down because it's never down. It was called a touchdown down there. See how many times I can say down. I'm going to get the down under punter in there. Maybe that'll help. So there, the dive forward. This should be a touchdown.
The runner did break the goal line plane with the ball. Therefore, touchdown.
It's the right call. Good job.
How about this drive? Saved on the face mask penalty on a sack fumble by Pitt. And then review confirms the touchdown, which is Marshall's 3rd TD run of the year, James.
And it was... Other than that, I mean, it could be all kinds of ugly. You give that ball back to Pittsburgh, if they get a 3 and out and they're out of there, or after that first down on the first run. Well, what a big drive, not just for this game, but for this season for Georgia Tech.
And the extra point is no good from Brenton King. There's the kick. 21-6 after the missed extra point. Georgia Tech on the board. Pittsburgh will start from his 25. We are going to see Kenny Pickett here. Remember, here's the play.
Just before halftime, he takes the hit to that lower left leg, and there's our official telling him he's got to cover up that top part of the brace.
Yep.
Like the offensive lineman. We see that all the time. All those offensive linemen, so we have to go in the tent. And all that matters right now, if you're a Pitt Panther, is that he's running back out there on the field, because that looks scary. Now, I will say this, though, for a guy who relies on those legs so much, extend those plays, there's no way around it. It slows you down a little bit, and you don't love it.
Flag down. Here's Pickett on the run, and he'll just flip it into the bench, incomplete. Henri St. Amour was tracking him, and this might be procedure on Pittsburgh.
Illegal formation, offense. 5 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty is declined. 2nd down.
Not only is Pickett back for Pittsburgh, here's David Curry's debut for Georgia Tech, and he's our hearty star to watch, James.
Well, he's got to make sure that he's not too antsy, goes flying over trying to make all the plays. Play your assignment football. It's been a big deal because when he does play assignment football in the first couple weeks, he's been more productive than anybody out there on that Georgia Tech defense. He's got to get out there and lead and make some plays, but do it within the scheme, because that's been a little bit of the concern here the last couple weeks, especially against USF.
Play fake, they'll shoot it center of the field. That's Aston, the fullback. Boy, nice catch by the big back at 240 pounds, George Aston.
Hey, two can play at that game. You lull him to sleep with a guy that does nothing but block the whole way through, right side of your screen. He's going to release her. He's not blocking anybody. And Pickett puts it right in the breadbasket of George Aston, who's done everything that's asked of him every single time out there. Boy, has he had a lot to do with those 21 points here in this football game, thanks to his blocking.
Well, he battled injuries last year. Now Ollison on first down gets a yard 30 away from St. Amour, who had a hold of him in the backfield. Qadree Ollison, Niagara Falls, New York, redshirt senior, 400 yards a year ago. 2015, he had 1,100 yards, Rebecca.
And you guys coaches say Ollison takes those losses really hard, specifically last week. And after that loss to Penn State, he went into the locker room and he addressed the team and said, this doesn't define our season. This Georgia Tech game does. It is a must win.
Pickett gonna load up, fire deep. Araujo Lopes batted in the air and incomplete. And a nice play by Tariq Carpenter in the secondary.
Boy, what an excellent job by the sophomore. He's beat. It's a touchdown. It's an easy touchdown. But Araujo Lopes is just too far. He's out of range. Pickett lets it fly and has to put some air underneath it. Tariq Carpenter, a lot of times when guys are beat, they'll peek, especially they're younger. He's just a sophomore. They'll peek back there to see what's going on. He knew he was beat, puts his head down, and he's gone. You watch those eyes of the receiver. When they get big, good, you put that hand up. You rip through those wrists. Excellent play.
Here's Taysir Mack, a big leaping grab at the 45 in front of Trey Swilling at the quarterback spot for Georgia Tech. And Mack has come up big today. That's a 15-yard catch. Boy, I like the looks of number 11, James.
Absolutely. An Indiana Hoosier a year ago. He's a nice transfer in. Look at him go up and make this grab and pull it down. We've seen a couple drops here by both teams in this game. Balls they should have caught that were maybe a little bit more difficult than the average catch. And how big is that one? It's a chain mover.
Wildcats set now. Pickett's come all the way out. They're going to hand it here, and this is Jacques Louis turning the corner for the first time today.
The handoff to 18.
Jacques Louis, who's got a twin brother, Rocky Jacques Louis. It's my all-time favorite this year so far, by the way.
When you run through what looks to be 15 white uniforms and still get positive yardage, there is no way I thought that was going to be anything positive. Then they can call you Shockey. You love saying that name, too.
Shaheem, known as Shockey. Twin brother Rocky is also my favorite. I told you.
One of two brothers, and he's got 5 sisters as well from Fort Myers.
Ollison to about the 30 as Pittsburgh trying to answer the Georgia Tech touchdown. Brandon Adams, the nose tackle out of Brentwood, Tennessee, to stop for Georgia Tech. The interesting story yesterday in talking to Sean Idowu and Rafael Araujo Lopes was the young guys that Pat Narduzzi has brought into this program that have the, for lack of a better term, James, the competitive gene. And Jacques Louis is one of these guys who's not scared to ask seniors, hey, what are we doing here? You know.
And what can I do to be better right now?
Yep. Pickett in the flat. Araujo Lopes. It'll be first down to the Georgia Tech 20. Chased out by Carpenter. 11 yards there for the first down play.
A few moments ago, Nate Woody's defense had Pittsburgh in a 3rd down and long. They had taken back control of the momentum to start this second half by finally scoring on offense. They're going to get off the field. Then the big completion. The nice catch by Mack. And Pitt hasn't looked back. They have been rolling every snap since then. Georgia Tech's got to stop the bleeding here.
Pickett wants to throw and bounced it incomplete. They're calling that a catch? At the 21-yard line behind the stick. Okay, second down. Georgia Tech fans thought it was incomplete. I thought it might have skipped the ground to Araujo Lopes.
And just to finish up that story real quick you're talking about is we'll watch Araujo Lopes make this catch. Hands under it. You offer a loss of 2, but he said Jacques Louis came in and said, hey, I heard that guys are running hills. He called up one of the seniors, wanted to go run hills and get better. The senior has something come up and didn't go, and he yelled at him.
Here's Ollison inside the 15. 3rd down coming up for Pittsburgh. Off the 14 of Georgia Tech. 21-6 our score. Under 4 to play in the 3rd here at Heinz Field. Coastal Division of the ACC. Conference openers for both. And there's the dirty laundry on Pittsburgh scoring this year, James.
Yeah, 6 points in that Penn State game a week ago.
33 against Albany in the opener and didn't put any points on the board in the second half. Araujo Lopes Trying to get a block on the edge. Boy, took a big lick. That was Carpenter again. Tariq Carpenter out of Long County, Georgia, not going to go down without a fight, James.
Again, we've called his name a few times from that safety spot coming up. Mentioned how you got to be physical and tough to play against your own offense. Bringing a load. Gave himself a woo. Ric Flair style as well. Deserved one.
And here is Kessman now, who on the year missed his only field goal. 35-yard try last week against Penn State. This is 33. And that is good.
Catching up after he had a couple steps ahead of him, did Arugio Lopes, and we saw the physicality there. And on that one, we see the recoverability is too. Recovery.
No return on the play for Thomas. Jackets will have it at their 20.
The surfing, the swells from that Hurricane Florence, trying to make some lemonade out of Mother Nature's lemons.
Marshall wants to cut it loose. Jalen Camp wide open, dropped it.
Well, Paul Johnson said to Rebecca coming out of the halftime locker room, we'll draw some stuff up for him, and we feel like it will work. But we've got to block better, we've got to tackle better, and we've got to execute better.
What, two big drops, James. Remember the Brad Stewart one in the first half?
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. Nobody in the shot.
And those shots, you don't take them very often. And you build. You set it up, then boom, you hit them on them. When you go for the home run, you got to take advantage.
Now Marshall just going to hang it into the pit bench. Nathan Cottrell was the closest Georgia Tech player. And now it's quickly 3rd and 10. Well, Pittsburgh has played well today, James, but Georgia Tech has only been able to take advantage of one sequence, and that was the sack fumble last possession that had the penalty tag to it. Other than that, they haven't helped themselves with plays, have they?
No.
And that's got to frustrate Newland, North Carolina native Paul Johnson. So after back-to-back pass plays, 3rd and the full 10. Marshall the pitch. Clinton Lynch dodges one man and then fumbled the ball. Pittsburgh says they have it, and they do.
Look who it is. It's Rashad Weaver going to come up with the fumble recovery. He's been around that football all afternoon on the 3rd down and 10. It's a nice pitch. Outside and a great job. There's our guy, Sean Nadoju, coming from behind. Forces the fumble. His head coach. Matt Narduzzi is fired up as he should be. They finally get one. That's the 3rd time that Georgia Tech has put the ball on the ground here today. Able to recover the first 2. Not the case right here. Last one was wiped out thanks to the penalty, or it would have been 4. They had 5 fumbles last year and lost 4 in this game.
Look out! Trickery. Pickett throwing and broken up and intercepted a Johnny Kerr. Or Malik Rivera, beg your pardon. Rivera working his way back across the field. And up the far sideline to the 45. Bryce Hargrove made the tackle of Rivera after Pittsburgh went to full gadget play here.
Ends up in the hands of Kenny Pickett, just as that flea flicker did on the last one. And a great job. 2 defensive backs that were beat again, but able to recover. And Rivera bailing out the offense. Last time out, it was Pitt with the big penalty that bailed them out. And here they get bailed out one more time. This time, it's Nate Woody's defense that puts the ball back in their hands.
It was broken up by Kerr, 38, and intercepted by 36, Rivera. How about all that, James? My goodness. Ball at the 44. Marshall out of the base set in the spread option. Quick pitch. This is Mason. through 2 tacklers. Jordan Mason to the 31-yard line.
Well, twice in this game, we've seen these defensive backs, they're beat. It's over. It's going to be a touchdown. And they put their heads down. It shows they may not always be in the right spot. When they are getting beat, maybe it's an eyes thing, but they're at least coached right to do when they are beaten a little bit. They put those heads down and do everything they can to live to play another down.
As Jerry Howard fighting for about 5 on first down after the long run by Jordan Mason.
You'd like to coach them from start to finish, but Chill Woods is the safeties coach. Joe Speed is the defensive backs coach. You can see that, that they at least they understand that part of their job. And they've done that really well, knocking those balls away of what could have been disaster. An offense that's rolling and has the Pitt Panther defense on its heels a little bit here now.
2nd and 5 and a long count. Marshall starts the option, trying to turn it back upfield. Boy, Rashad Weaver, 17, has played a whale of a game, almost dictating tempo a little bit from the defensive end spot, James.
Just a sophomore from Fort Lauderdale, Rashad. He was the one who had the fumble recovery there just a few moments ago. But you're right, Wes. He's just causing fits for that Georgia Tech offensive line. And you better believe this is 4-down territory for Paul Johnson.
Marshall on the follow play, close to the first down. It'll be 4th and about a half yard. Ran into Idowu on the final play of the 3rd. We go to the 4th at Heinz Field. How good is that?
Oh, how good is this? A 4th down. Biggest play of the game right now, right to the action in the 4th quarter.
Base set, Marshall will have it. Broke the plane of the 20 easily to the 18 as we start the 4th and final period at Heinz Field. And here's a quick check through 3 quarters.
How about that hit with 6.5 yards per play? Georgia Tech, 5.3, and they're starting to roll forward now. They've picked up a few 3rd down conversions. That one a 4th down conversion for a fresh set of downs. Good job by the offensive line to get low on that 4th down.
And right at the mess point, Jerry Howard got banged back. And there's Rashad Weaver again, James, with help that time from his maiden defensive end, Dwayne Hendricks. I tell you, Weaver made a play behind the line last week against Penn State where he fired off the edge and almost met McSorley on the handoff. He's made several of those type plays here today again.
Sophomore. I mean, we saw Shockey Louis, a couple Floridians that are really big-time futures. Young guys. A lot of young, talented players here at Pitt from the Sunshine State.
That's Lynch in motion. Here's the pitch to the B-back Howard. And Jerry Howard has it around the edge. 1st and goal at the 7. Good run by the sophomore, Rock Hill, South Carolina, Jerry Howard.
And a nice job. Watch 22. Watch Lynch go and pick up his guy to make this happen. And he's staying up high again. That used to always be a cut out there.
Yeah.
And I think it says a lot about the ability of these backs and these receivers. Just, hey, same thing. It's just a different way to go about it. Staying up high, clearing the way for Howard. 1st and goal now.
Georgia Tech getting some mileage out of the pitch game here. Here is Marshall for the score. Taquan Marshall on 1st and goal goes 7 yards for the touchdown.
They're going to go for the extra point. Here's this bend back. You get guys washed down, and it's an excellent job. Was that Andrew Marshall, or was it 60 up there? I want to make sure I take care of him. I think it was Brad Morgan. He does an excellent job of washing his guy down. And that bend back that you saw work so many times for those big plays against USF. Pitt's done a great job defending today and staying in position. And they will go for 2 now.
So the Rivera interception is cashed in a 24-12 game. clock to 8 for Taquan Marshall. Carter in motion. Marshall looks back. Now going to throw. Stewart offline. Never really had a chance. Defended by Paris forward the corner. So we get a timeout. Pitt has still doubled the number on Paul Johnson's jacket.
Watching his team put on a nice show. The first African-American to ever play in the Sugar Bowl.
Thanks, Rebecca. Great to hear the story of Mr. Greer today, and he and his family getting a chance to be part of it. His team's doubled up Georgia Tech as we get to today's Aflac trivia question, James. There's my man.
Yeah.
Aflac. Since 1954, the ACC's won 6 national titles in football. Those 6 titles have been won by 3 different teams. Who are they? Answer coming up momentarily. Pittsburgh off its 25 with Kenny Pickett in that knee brace. Under center here. French in motion. Qadree Ollison slipped down. They'll lose a yard back toward the 24, I believe.
Trying to make it interesting for him. It's just another slip. We've seen a couple slips here today. It's for the most part with all the weather that's been going on. But it's, you know, talk about bailing out. I mean, it was a great job by that offensive front and nice vision as well. That was going to be a big-time run. Ollison knew it.
Out the flat, Arujo Lopes and a big lick. That's Carpenter again. Tariq Carpenter building a reputation, James.
He is, and not just being a physical safety, but doing a good job in coverage as well. He's got to be careful, though. They'll throw that flag right there. It's going up high and helmet to helmet.
Third short
stick, yes. Third down and very short.
Pickett's kind of working around his lack of mobility now, don't you think?
I think so.
Yeah, cumbersome brace he's wearing on that left leg. That's Mature, the tight end in motion. They'll hand to Ollison. He'll have the first down. Flag is going down. And Qadree Ollison will be toward the 40 if it stands. Nope. Hold on the Panthers.
Number 78. 10-yard penalty. Third down.
Oh, that's Alex Buxer, the most experienced of those guys. Big 315-pounder from Mount Lebanon.
There he is, big 78, the right tackle.
Oh, yeah. Kind of had Desmond Branch wrapped up, didn't he?
Yeah, he almost had no choice because he was pushing Desmond Branch right into the lap of his back that was still about 4 yards deep.
Buxer had some major flow a year ago, as I recall, right?
He likes to get creative with it.
Yeah, kind of cut it down. He had a huge salad last year, right?
Yeah, he's working on another big mullet. That's what the guys were saying yesterday.
3rd and 10. Pickett loads it up and overshoots Mack. Wow. So now all of a sudden the Panthers go 3 and out if you throw the penalty in. And all of a sudden with 11:35 to play, Pat Narduzzi's team up 12, but it seems to be a precarious feeling 12 points.
I mean, how about the momentum swing to go from the 21-0, where it seemed like Georgia Tech couldn't do one thing right, and Pitt couldn't do one thing wrong. Almost like turning the Titanic.
End over in punt. Stewart fields at the 40. Shakes a man. Starts up the far side and out of bounds near the 46 of the Panthers. 37-yard punt. 14-yard return for Savannah, Georgia's Brad Stewart. Okay, how about our Aflac answer? And the ACC trivia question. Since '54, the ACC's won 6 national titles among 3 schools. Clemson, 2016 and 1981. You see Florida State, 93, 99, and 2013. And Georgia Tech, 1990. And now here are other national titles before joining the ACC. And, of course, Miami carved out a few.
Yeah, running out of room for those canes down at the bottom.
Georgia Tech's best starting position today, and Quay Searcy pushing toward a first down.
Georgia Tech, you're going to have a chance here, it looks like. And it's, the opportunity was there last week. Getting the ball at the end of the game going in. They fumbled going in. First things first, you've got to keep it clean because right now you really seem to have a bit of the upper hand on this side of the ball. Offensively, things are starting to click. Keep them clicking and keep it clean.
Marshall, wow, took a big hit that time from Salim Brightwell.
Tackle 9, Salim Brightwell.
220-pound redshirt junior at linebacker from New Jersey here. Watch this.
Backside hustling. Just, you see him adjust that angle, too, is so important. You don't just go running down there willy-nilly coming into the backfield. You got to understand, adjust that angle, flatten it out, know where he's going, trying to get. Good job by 9 to run him down, stuff him for a short gain.
Goes Marshall. Oh, he got pulled down. Looked like they might have had the horse collar, but maybe it was just the back of the jersey. Hard to tell. But it's just minimal yardage for Taquan Marshall.
But it is positive yardage, and it is really not an option anyway. Oh, you're right, Wes. It's not an option. Any long field goal here. So they'll use all 4 downs. Especially trailing 12, but throw in the fact that they missed the extra point earlier.
Marshall, miscommunication, intercepted in the end zone, and away with it comes Motley. Felipe Motley working upfield, and he'll be brought down at the 22. Second turnover of the day on Georgia Tech.
Boy, it was Camp. Had a rough second half here. He had the drop earlier, and here he just breaks off that route. Motley never gave up on it. Ran underneath it. There was never any doubt in Taquan Marshall's mind that it was looked to be anyway a little hitch and go. Laid it up there, but laid it up for the wrong person. Nobody else around wearing a white jersey. Only good news for Georgia Tech here after that turnover is it'll be at the 21-yard line.
12-point lead for Pittsburgh, less than 9.5 to go. Play fake by Pickett. Mack down the field. Nope, it's French underneath at the 35. Boy, nicely designed play from Sean Watson, James. He had not only French and Mack, he leveled them off in the route package.
Yeah, you get those different levels. And it did look like he was going to Mack at first, but coming underneath and a nice job, the patience. And even with that knee brace, you see him still extending the play, buying a little bit of time, and still throwing well on the run. That's one thing he specializes in, is just getting out there and slinging it while he's on the move.
That's Darren Hall, who's got a touchdown run today, and he runs right into the arms of Christian Campbell.
But still a good job by Hall to get positive yardage there. Looked like he was going to be dropped maybe for a loss. Right at the goal line instead. He was going to come away with about 5 yards. Bring down a 2nd down and 5 rather than a 2nd down and 10 or 11. All the excitement there. Georgia Tech finally getting some life. Pitt can go down and drive it down and score here. It could be a crusher for Georgia Tech.
Absolutely. And here's Hall, and St. Moore grabbed him at about the 45, so it'll be 3rd and about 2. You see the clock continuing to move. 8 minutes to play in the ball game here at Heinz Field. Pittsburgh led 21-0 at the half. Georgia Tech on Pitt's first penalty of the day, James, that wiped out a sack fumble by the Panthers. Georgia Tech will cash that in on a Taquan Marshall 1-yard run, and then moments ago used an interception by Malik Rivera for another score. But here, just a couple snaps ago, the interception by Felipe Motley. Now out in the flat, here's Darren Hall, first down to midfield, and into Georgia Tech territory on the 3rd down play. 7 yards on the catch to Darren Hall.
I really like the job that Sean Watson, the offensive coordinator of Pitt, has done today, calling this game. Here you've got everybody wearing a white helmet, their ears pinned back, got to go make a stop on 3rd down and short. You send them all that way and look back across the field and throw it back across the grain. Dump it off to your back with a couple big bodies leading the way, and it's an easy 1st down pickup for Pitt.
Here is Ollison on the 1st down carry. And a good segue on the Brandon Adams tackle to our Honda Generators power play. Roll it from Niagara Falls, James.
Yeah, Niagara Falls. Slowly I turn, inch by inch, step by step.
How about 14 carries, 76 yards, 2 scores for Qadree Ollison.
That's when I used to fake sick and stay home from school and watch the Three Stooges every day.
Great.
That's one of the best episodes of the Three Stooges.
Time to alert the East Tennessee truancy officers. Here's Pickett, wide open on the boot, and he'll slip out of bounds. It will be 3rd down coming up for Pittsburgh. Under 6 minutes to go on the clock, moving from Pat Narduzzi. Well, his team will be headed to Chapel Hill next Saturday to meet Larry Fedora's winless Carolina team at 0-2. Paul Johnson will welcome number 2 Clemson to Grant Field in Atlanta.
What time is that Clemson game?
3:30.
3 o'clock. They seem to have some success when those big dogs come in and it's a night game.
Yeah, Saturday nights at Grant Field, always kind of a special environment. Here is French on the sweep. And angled out of bounds. I think that was a Johnny Kerr. Yes, it was. Sophomore red shirt from McEachern High School. 4th down it'll be. Clock moves, though, toward the 5-minute mark. And Pittsburgh is going to go for this.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Maybe run that clock down, call a timeout, take the delay, move it 5 back, and give Christodoulou a little room.
See if you can maybe get somebody to jump off sides. I'd be surprised if they don't make it. Give Georgia Tech a short field here.
Well, now we got a flag call and procedure on the Panthers.
False start. Offense. Number 66. 5-yard penalty.
One option we didn't put out there.
Yeah, we didn't really kind of cover that part. The penalty factor in the ball game. Don't forget, this is just part of a doubleheader tonight on your regional sports network. Tonight, 7:30, Takeo Spikes and Evan Leffler will join you. Lindsey Rowley also with those guys from Cardinal Stadium in Louisville. First meeting in 20 years between the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky and the Louisville Cardinals, who are 1-1 after the win over Indiana State last Saturday night. Puma Pass, we'll get a look at those guys next week against Virginia, who plays Ohio, coming up at about 4:30 this afternoon in Nashville. Ball game moved out of the Commonwealth because of the weather.
It's like the Music City Cup. Can't be the bowl. It's just a little bowl. Teacup.
Christodoulou will flip it end over end, and Stewart going to let it hit. And French tried to save. He was saved.
I think he did.
Was that Stocker? It was. Jazzy Stocker
At the 1.
down on punt cover. And that's a sharp job by the redshirt junior, James.
Paul Johnson talked about freshmen being on the kickoff team on special teams. That looks pretty good.
Ball at the 1 after the special teams play, and offensive.
False start.
False start penalty
Number
on
62.
Ivermeyer.
Kept the distance to the goal penalty. 1st down.
So what's half of 1? Half. You see Bailey fall?
Yeah, take you even further back. And, you know, again, we were going to break right quick, but the job by French, the receiver, they're on the punt cover team to get down there, throw that line, knock it back on the punt was huge.
Here's Marshall working the angle all the way to the edge, and Taquan will have a 1st down. Out to the 16-yard line. 15-yard run for Taquan.
this isn't a fast-paced offense. There's got to be a sense of urgency because it's going to take a while to get down there and chop this lead in half. Especially in this offense, you can't wait till there's 2 minutes left to run that 2-minute offense. A lot of time going off the clock in between.
In trouble, got to cut it loose and tried to get it to Brad Stewart, and it is a catch falling out of bounds at the 23.
Stewart was up there at the front, right of your screen. Coming back to the ball, Pat Narduzzi didn't like the replay that they saw here in-house. He wants him to take a look at it. We'll take one more look at it.
Remember, call to catch on the field. Right foot, left. If the left foot hit the white, then I get the point. The right foot looks like it might be in bounds, but
play. And they'll keep it going. 3:12 now.
Marshall, call draw. First down. Clock continues to move inside of, well, they'll stop it at the 3-minute mark to move the chains.
Quan Marshall. Approaching 90 yards of offense. Or rushing offense, I should say, on 26 carries.
Over the ball, ready to snap it now.
Here he comes again. This time cuts it back upfield. He'll have a first down to the 39. And Jahazel Lee is slow to his feet, the Georgia Tech center. As we get our bad boy mowers covering ground. Georgia Tech rushing 300 today, 439 in the opener, 419 last week.
They had 602 total yards last year against Pitt.
Off the hands of the intended receiver Stewart, and Marshall took a big lick. I think Dwayne Hendricks was back there, and Taquan is still down. Wergenis, the linebacker, also there.
Pressure's going to come late. Boom, up top and right about the midsection. Boy, it's been a rough start to the senior season for Taquan Marshall. On the back end, again, a little bit tougher, but a ball that Brad Stewart sure seemed to have an opportunity to pull in. Would have been another first down. Does stop the clock with 2:21 left.
Second in the full 10. Middle screen from Mason, and he'll get a couple of yards to the 41 on the catch. So Jordan Mason, the redshirt freshman from Metro Nashville in Gallatin, Tennessee.
Pitt just did like a hockey line change. They sent about 5 new bodies in. They weren't ready with their hands in the grass. And a good job by Marshall to snap that ball quickly. None of them were set, and there's an easy first down pickup.
Yep.
So we go under 2 minutes, and now they'll make another big change. Trying to get some fresh bodies in there. And that's one thing you can't do that Pitt has done really a good job of throughout. Playing their positions, playing what they're taught throughout the week, throughout those Panther periods that Rebecca was telling us about, that they practice to get ready for this option. Don't forget your assignments because you're a little bit tired. This is where it counts. Don't give them the big hitter by trying to overrun and make something happen.
Marshall wants to throw again. Another quick shot to Brad Stewart. And inside the 35 to the 33 of Pittsburgh with 1:48 to play. Georgia Tech needs 2 scores. And the Jackets of Paul Johnson also have 3 timeouts.
Gets out of bounds. Marshall now is calming down a little bit. Missed the big throw earlier to Camp in the first half, but would have been a 3rd down pickup. Starting to put it on the money now when they need it the most. They're under 2 minutes. Anything they can to chip away at this 12-point lead.
Just a yard or 2 for Jerry Howard.
Just keeping him honest, huh?
Yep.
Make sure Over the years, that's been one of the big home run plays. That little dive play.
There's Marshall again. Now the near side, and a catch by Malachi Carter at the 19-yard line.
Started after they moved the chains. It looked like he was out of bounds.
Second catch of the year for Carter, who had one last week at Tampa. 1:20 to go. Marshall looking right, and Stewart. It's ruled incomplete with 1:14 to play. Brett Stewart saying he caught the ball here. Let you judge at home.
Wow.
Yeah,
Looked like Motley batted it into his hands, James.
Yeah, batted it right into his forearm, and I don't think it ever touched the ground. It was a good play by Motley.
12th play of the drive here for Georgia Tech. Marshall on the pitch, and angled out of bounds is Amari Jarrett.
Good hustle by Virginis just to get enough. Just enough to shut that play down. It was almost maybe to the house. And a little bit of a, well, we'll call it not a perfect angle for the middle linebacker, but he recovered just enough to knock him out of bounds and to save what could have been a big play.
Minute 8 to go. Slot set for Georgia Tech. Marshall, and tried to get it to Stewart, and now a flag is thrown, I believe, against Paris Ford for the hold.
Holding. Defense, number 12. First down.
There's Stewart up top, and well, that wasn't anything compared to the 2-point conversion earlier that we watched at the break. They went for it, and there was a whole lot of jersey being held, and that one, I don't know anybody would have blamed them if they wouldn't have thrown it, but that's what it is, and it's a first down. Here we are at a minute. Sideline trying to get him loud in here.
Pat Narduzzi not happy. He'll turn and try and get the faithful to their feet. First down and goal now after the penalty on Ford. Marshall. Called draw at the 5. And Georgia Tech bench wants Marshall to get up on the football with 52 seconds left. Howard is the B-back. Here's the pitch, and around the edge, Clinton Lynch, the touchdown. So Clinton Lynch with 37 seconds left has scored on the run here to make it 24-18. And now here is Brenton King for the point after. And this is, King missed one earlier. Bottom line is, it's the onside kick that's going to tell the story of the game here, James. The point after is good. The drive is 14 plays, 99 yards in 3. Only win in that mark is a 2010 at Virginia, or 16 at Virginia Tech. There's a high hop. Ball loose. It went out of bounds. Without being touched.
Free kick out of bounds on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty. First down.
You can't ask for anything more from your kicker. How many times is it just a dud? But that's put up there right where you want it.
Yep.
And especially with the way the new rules are with onside kicks, where you can't send bombers down there to take out that first wave. Somebody's got through it, you know, and is that an 8 or a 9?
Celine
Brightwell saves the day. Really, he just wraps him up and tackles the would-be recipient.
Now Georgia Tech has all 3 timeouts remaining here, but only 37 seconds left.
Panthers first and 10.
So after the onside kick and the penalty, Pittsburgh at its 49. And the ball is handed to Qadree Ollison, and Christian Campbell takes him down after about a 5-yard gain, and there's the first Georgia Tech timeout. 31 seconds left. We told you the Jackets, Clemson and Bowling Green in Atlanta, then at Louisville. Pittsburgh will go to Chapel Hill and then to Orlando, Florida for a non-conference game with UCF, and the passing of Mackenzie Milton, James, who threw for 5 scores in the first game of the season against UConn. Very challenging schedule for Pittsburgh when you think about Penn State last Saturday night. UCF is on the docket, and at Notre Dame on October the 13th. Panthers have one of the more challenging non-conference slates in the ACC this year.
Even after that game in Orlando, Syracuse comes to town, who put the hammer to the Seminoles. Or I don't know if it's a final yet, but looking to win big against Florida State here today.
That's Madure, the tight end, in motion. And this is Ollison again. And Qadree Ollison will have the first down.
Qadree Ollison.
That'll do it. Yep. They'll move the chains. Don't forget, game 2 of our doubleheader. Hilltoppers and Cards tonight, Derby City, 7:30 on your regional sports network, part of your ACC Saturdays double dip. And then we're looking forward to being in Charlottesville next Saturday to see UVA and Louisville in a Coastal Atlantic clash at Scott Stadium. Paul Johnson and Pat Narduzzi, a handshake. Pittsburgh goes to 2-1 and 1-0 in the ACC. They beat Georgia Tech 24-19. Back after this.